This is the HPT.
Sit right down, put on your poker face. You with the big dogs now. Better bring your best game. Talk trash all you want. To me, it's all the same. You won't leave with much when you come in second place. I'm the one with the stack showing 7 to the jack. Gon' cry to your mama cause I'm sending you back. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. Last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand.
Hello everyone and welcome to the HPT. I'm James Larson, joined by professional poker player Mr. Robert Williamson III. This week we wrap up our event here at the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. 5 players remain. Will it be Matt? Will it be Corey T, Corey Z, Steve, or Plowman?
Sounds like a law firm that I've paid a lot of money to, but in all seriousness, we have 5 great players left, and they're going to do battle here tonight.
So with no further ado, let's head down to tonight's final table and get the action started.
5 players remain. They're all guaranteed just over $28,000, but up top is the big cash, almost $132K.
And let's take a look at our chip counts. Matt Bond and Corey T. That's the Matt and Corey show on top of our chip leaderboard.
So glad you joined us tonight here on the HPT. We're going to hand out a whole lot of cash, crown a champion from Daytona Beach here at the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. Blinds are $25,000, $50,000 with a $5K ante. Robert, do you have a prediction? Who's going to be our next HPT champ?
Wow, I hate when you put me in the corner. You know, they say about putting baby in the corner. Don't put baby in the corner.
So who do you like, Robert?
You know, Matt Bond has really played well. Corey T's played really well. I'm going to pick them 1-2.
Action is on Steve. He's going to get out of the way. We go to Corey Z. He's in the 1 seat. Looks down at the Motown Jack 5. He's going to fold. Now over to Matt Bond. He's got ace 6 of spades, his 3rd HPT final table in a row. This guy is running red hot. He's going to raise it up to $110,000. Now over to Plowman. Looks down at King Jack suited in spades.
Being where it's at, I don't mind a call here from Plowman.
Plowman's in the small blind, so it's ace 6 right now for Matt going up against the King Jack of Plowman.
Plowman's in what I call first bluff position. After the flop, he'll be the first person to be able to take a swing at it. Sometimes that's powerful too, James.
$85,000 for Plowman to make this call. Plowman's 33 years old. He's originally from Bulgaria. Now he lives here in the Sunshine State. He's going to fold his hand. Now over to Corey T. Looks down at King 9.
Well, that's a dog of a hand.
And Corey from the big blind is going to go ahead and defend. I get it. K9. It took me a second. I said I got it, and I actually didn't get it. The flop is Queen 9 deuce, couple of diamonds.
Well, the K9 hit that flop, has second pair.
So action is on Corey T. Corey's going to check over to Matt Bond. Matt Bond with so much experience, like I just said, his 3rd HPT final table.
Well, Matt doesn't know he's behind here now that Corey checked to him. You might see a continuation bet. Nope, decides to check. I like that play.
Both players checking. We go to the turn card now. It's the 7 of spades. Action once again on Corey T. $80,000 in lifetime earnings for Corey. He's just 26 years old. He's a professional poker player from here in Florida. He's going to bet $160,000.
Well, this should be a pretty easy fold for Matt. Only ace high. It doesn't even really have a good kicker with it.
And Matt is going to fold. So the winner of the first hand of the night is going to be Corey T. So Robert, Corey T wins the hand, and he is now our chip leader, moving Matt Bond into second. And the action continues here from the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. It's folded around to Plowman.
Well, the 2 players you talked about have about 2/3 of the chips in play. So they're going to bounce back and forth here a little bit.
Plowman looks down at ace 9 of clubs.
In position, that's a strong hand, especially 5-handed now. The strength of an ace 5-handed and below really increases, James.
Plowman is a software engineer, $141,000 in lifetime earnings. He's going to raise it up to $110,000 with his ace 9. Now over to the button, and Corey T looks down at ace 10.
in this position with the button. I'm a known button defender. I'm definitely going to make this call. I doubt I'm going to raise because if you get played back at it, if you get re-raised, you can't even call. I'm just going to flat here if I'm Corey T.
And Corey T is going to re-raise. He's not going to flat. He's going to go up to 305,000. Steve gets out of the way. Now over to Corey Z in the 1 seat. Looks down at Queen Deuce. And he's going to fold.
Well, the one good thing about Corey T's raise is he does have the button. He's going to have position on Plowman this whole hand.
So action back to Plowman, 165,000 for him to make this call. A lot of cash on the line here in Daytona Beach. He is going to make the call. So ace-10 going up against ace-9.
We call that a dominated hand in poker.
And the flop is 8-7-5, couple of hearts.
Well, interesting flop. Plowman did flop a gutter ball straight draw. He needs a 6 to fill that. But Corey T still got the best hand.
So Plowman is going to check over to Corey T. This is when the chess game, the meta games, if you will, Robert, really come into play. And there's so much cash on the line. Like I keep mentioning because it's truly life-changing cash. And the next person eliminated will go out with $22,000. The next person eliminated will go out with $28,350. So Corey T is going to bet $220,000.
It's such a small bet. I think we're going to see at least a call from Plowman because, like I said before, he does have a straight draw.
And right now, just both players here with ace high, Robert. We know that because we've got the whole cards, but 8 of diamonds now comes on the turn.
It feels like a hold-on card to me. It feels like it probably didn't help either hand.
Plowman is going to check. Action over to Corey T.
I think we might see a check back from Corey T.
Plowman with the gutter ball straight draw like you talked. And now both players are going to check. Ace-10, ace-9. Kind of a weird hand here on the HPT. And the river card, another blank, this time the king of clubs.
And Corey T still has the best hand here with the ace-10, but it looks like Plowman's reaching for chips. He might be taking a swing at this because Corey T showed weakness on the turn.
Yeah, now, Robert, forget that we've got the whole cards. If you're Corey T, what's going through his mind right now? What's he trying to figure out?
Well, basically, Corey T's in a real conundrum. He re-raised pre-flop, which really defines Plowman's hand range, which means it's hard for Corey T to have the best hand right here. Plowman read that, made the right play, trying to bluff this pot here on the river. This is a really tough call for Corey T. Obviously, we can see he has the best hand, but if I'm Corey T, I'm thinking through the hand back and forth, the story that Plowman's telling. It looks like Plowman has the best hand. I'm probably going to make this laydown if I'm Corey T.
$365,000 to make the call, and Corey T is going to fold, so the winner of the hand is Plowman. We'll be right back after these messages. You're watching the HPT.
And it's still the Matt and Corey show, both of them dominating the chip leaderboard here. Plowman, Corey, Steve Karp's got to make a move soon, James.
Yeah, Steve just has 7 big blinds, so the time is right now for Steve Karp. Action will be first here on Plowman. Still stacking chips. He looks down at 8 deuce, another good blackjack hand. Not so great in Texas Hold'em. He's going to fold, as does Corey T. Now action over to Steve, Robert, and look, he's got a real hand. Big slick ace king. He's all in.
Well, Steve's patience has paid off. He's got a real hand here. At least he gets his chips in good here in the end.
Action is on the 1 seat of Corey Z. He's asking for a count, and it looks like 305,000 chips for Corey to make this call.
I think Steve would be just as happy still in these blinds right now. I don't think he really wants a caller, but he would take one if he had to because he does have a big hand.
Once again, action on Corey Z.
Well, Corey Z's taking his time because he does have another player behind him.
And he's got the
Queen.
HPT special there, the old King Queen. So just 305,000 for him to make this call, and it looks like he's going to do just that. He's going to make the call. Now action over to Matt Bond, who's got a pocket pair, pocket sixes.
Well, I might try to put the squeeze on Corey Z if I'm Matt Bond here. I don't know. I think I'd have to raise here. Just try to isolate the all-in player.
Looks like he's going to make a call, and they're going to team up against Steve. Possibly try to eliminate a player here at our final table. It's time to go to the flop. And the flop is ace, queen, deuce. So Steve's ace-king now. He's in the lead with his aces.
That's a great flop for the all-in player. Corey flops second pair, so he doesn't know where he's at. Matt in third place in a three-man race.
Turn card now is the 9 of clubs. So Steve Karp, one street away from not a double up, but a triple up.
Well, only a 6 or a queen can eliminate Steve right now.
A pot of over 1 million chips, no side pot, as the river card brings the 5 of clubs. And neither Matt or Corey are going to check. We're going to flip over the cards, and Steve is going to see that he is going to triple up Robert. A huge pot for him to keep his hopes alive.
I always say nothing sweeter than a repeater, but this time a three-peater. He tripled up.
Steve Karp, 37 years old. We asked what his plans for the cash are. He says it's going straight to the fiancé. So a triple up for Steve. He's got some chips now, Robert, and we'll see if he can put them to good use.
Absolutely, yeah, for another time.
And he's smiling.
Well, it's the first time we've seen him smiling today.
Very friendly final table as we broadcast from the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room right here in Daytona Beach, Florida. James Larson and Robert Williamson, the third. Action on Steve. He's going to fold his 10 tray. Now over to the one seat of Corey Z. Looks down at 10-9 of clubs, and he's going to shove all in for his remaining chips. Action over to Matt Bond now. These two have tangled all night long here on the HPT. Matt's got 10-8, $135,000 for him to make this call, but most importantly, they want to get rid of another player. Let's be honest.
So many times it's about eliminating a player, and that's what they're going to try to do right here.
The money from fifth place goes to $28,350 up to $37,513. So Corey T makes the call as well, so we're three-handed to the flop. And the flop is 8-7 deuce, rainbow.
Well, a couple of players hit this flop. Matt and Corey flopping top pair, but Corey Z open and straight draw. Needs a 6 or jack, but also a 9 gets him out of the trap.
A little something for everybody there on that flop. Action is on Corey T, and he is reaching for chips.
Well, Corey T's decided to build a side pot, which sometimes you'll see players do, especially more pro players that play a lot of poker. I like it, and I don't blame Matt for the call. He's got top pair.
All right, we go to the turn card now. And that turn card is the 5 of diamonds.
Well, that's no help to our all-in player. Corey T's still in the lead. Corey Z's going to need some help here. He needs a 6, a 9, or a jack, or he's going to be eliminated.
Now Corey T slows down. Matt checks behind him, so we go to the river card. And the river card is the ace of hearts, so no luck there for Corey Z. We'll see if there's any side action here. We'll start with Corey T, and I got a feeling they're going to check this thing down, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And Corey T eliminates Corey Z, but he's going home with $28,350. Great to see the sportsmanship as Corey Z shakes everybody's hand here at the final table. We're down to the final 4 here at the HPT in Daytona Beach, and we'll be back with more action right after this.
And Corey T's trying to separate himself from the pack, sitting with over half the chips in play right now. Plowman, though, shortly behind. Matt Bond, Steve Karp rounding out the group left here today.
Our final 4 as we battle it out here on national television. First place, $131,720, but they're all guaranteed, Robert, $37,513. Action is on Steve, who's just got 5% of the chips in play, and he's all in.
Well, with his stack size, that's a simple move. King, Jack of hearts, King, Jack suited. I'm pushing all in also.
And he ran it right into Plowman's pocket 8s here. It's $595,000 for Plowman to make this call, which I expect him to do so. He's thinking about it here.
Well, he still has Corey to act behind him, so he's got to think about this, what he wants to do. I'm probably going to go ahead and just flat, just in case Corey wakes up with a really big hand. I can get away from it because Corey's got me covered.
Steve tripled up just a few hands ago.
$595,000 is what Steve's all in for. Action still on Plowman.
And Plummett's not so concerned about Steve's hand. He's actually more concerned about Corey acting behind him.
And now Plowman is going to make the call. Corey gets out of the way, and Steve sees that it's the classic race situation, somewhat of a coin toss here. Pocket 8s going up against 2 overcards, the king and the jack.
And Steve's the one in jeopardy. He needs a king or jack, and he gets one right on the flop.
The flop is ace, jack, 9, couple of diamonds. And so far, Steve pretty happy with this hand as he flops a jack. We go to the turn card now. It's another diamond, this time the 5 of diamonds. Neither player with any diamonds in their hand.
Well, only an 8 can eliminate Steve right now, or he's going to get another all-important double up.
The river card is the Tray of Hearts. And once again, Steve with his alligator blood here at this final table, Robert, he's going to double up. And once again, add more chips to his stack. He's still on the short stack, but never count out Miami Steve Karp. This guy knows how to play poker.
He has shown a lot of patience today, and, they say patience is a virtue. At the poker table, patience is everything.
Action continues here. Now Corey T picks up pocket sixes. He's going to go ahead and raise it up to 170,000. Steve gets out of the way. Steve only plays hands that he wins. That's it. He only plays winners, period.
That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, if I could predict it, of course.
Action over to Plowman now. Looks down at ace-4. He's in the big blind, so he's going to defend with his ace of hearts, 4 of clubs. Corey with the best of it right now with his pocket sixes. I love four-handed poker. This is fun stuff to watch right here on the HPT. The flop is 10-9 Trey. Couple of diamonds.
Well, neither one of the players are going to like this flop. Doesn't fit either player's hand. Put 2 overcards to Corey T's pair. But if it gets checked to me and I'm Corey T, I'm going to take a little swing at this.
Plowman's going to check. Over to Corey T now. Corey T just trying to figure out, what does my opponent have here? He's going to check back. Both players checking. I don't think you like that,
cautious,
did you, Robert?
That's a cautious play. Yeah, I would have preferred a bet. Well, especially now the ace comes on the turn. You give free cards, and that's what happens. It gets you in trouble sometimes.
The ace of spades on the turn, so Plowman going to check. Over to Corey T.
Well, Corey T has to swing at this because Plowman showed weakness. I don't blame Corey. I would have probably bet here too, but I would have preferred a flop bet, maybe forcing Plowman out on that flop.
The bet is 135,000. And Plowman not going anywhere. He's going to make this call as his hand improved there on the turn. A pot of almost 700,000 chips. And the river card is the ace of diamonds. So Plowman makes 3 of a kind. He checks. Corey checks behind him. And Corey's going to see the bad news. 3 of a kind is the winning hand for Plowman. He'll take down that pot.
Corey's definitely wishing that he had bet that flop now because he might have won that pot right there.
Once again, you are watching exclusive final table coverage here at the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. If you want to join us here on the HPT, check out our website. All the information is at hptpoker.com. Action is folded around to Steve. Looks down at 110 and a jack, jack 10.
Well, once again, heads up, down to 2 people. Steve pushes all in. I don't know if I'd have shoved there, but I definitely would have raised. Matt's got a pretty easy call with 2 sevens. Wow, Steve's all in again, James.
Well, he ran him into 8s before and came out on top. We'll see if he can do it with his jack 10 going up against pocket 7s.
You have to win coin flips to win tournaments.
And the flop is ace 10-6, all hearts.
Another big flop for Steve. He flops middle pair. More importantly, he's got Matt dominated right now. Matt needs a 7, looks a little sick right now.
Turn card is the 5 of diamonds.
Well, Steve only needs to dodge a 7, exactly a 7. And he does, and he gets another double up yet again.
And Steve rakes in almost 2 million chips, and he is right back in the mix. Steve is new to the HPT, and we asked him what he likes about playing with us, and here's what he had to say.
I really have a lot of respect for HPT. I know the history of it, especially like you guys have been such like a rising product, and you guys put a pretty good show on, and you're always improving your tournaments. And I mean that genuinely. Like you do really listen to the players, and it's adapting to what we want.
The Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room is owned by Delaware North, and Robert, they're celebrating 100 years, and they do an annual food and can drive. And this year, the company raised over 100,000 cans of food. Here locally, almost 3,000 cans were brought in. We had live entertainment, and we had the cash machine.
Oh my gosh, that's my partner James Larson in there.
And you know what? My hair never got messed up. That's some pretty strong holding gel, but we gave all that cash back, and it's a great charity that the Delaware North Company works with, and we were glad to be a part of it.
Back to our chip leaderboard. Corey Thompson right on top. Steve, Matt, and Plowman's going to have to make a move at the bottom of our chip stack.
Steve Karp is truly the story here at tonight's final table. This guy went from the bottom all the way to second place now. He crawled his way back in, and you never give up on the short stack,
I
Robert.
think it was more like clawed his way back in. He didn't play a lot of hands, but he waited until he got good hands, and that's what you got to do in the game of poker.
Plowman folds, so action is on Corey T. Looks down at 4 tray of diamonds. He's going to raise to $170,000. Steve gets out of the way, and now action on Matt Bond.
Well, Corey T's got a pretty strong table image, so he might get away with this raise. Oh, Matt says he's not going to go for it. Calls him with a speculative hand, we'll say. Jack 6 of diamonds.
So both players with diamonds in their hand. The flop comes out king, queen, 8, 2 diamonds. This could be trouble for Corey T.
Yeah, if a diamond comes here, this is really a bad spot for Corey T.
Matt's going to check.
Matt's trying to control the size of the pot. He also realizes there's a good chance Corey could have a king or queen, but he doesn't feel like it after he checks that flop back to him.
Turn card now is the ace of spades.
Well, that also adds a straight draw for Matt. He just needs a 10 to fill that straight, but he also, at the same time, James, he has the best hand.
And Matt's going to check over to Corey T. Of course, they don't have the hole cards like we do, so we've got that advantage. And this is really where the mind games come into play, Robert.
Yeah, especially with Corey T being the pre-flop raiser. An ace comes on the turn. Corey T's going to try to represent it. I don't blame him. I would too. And plus, he's got some outs. He thinks he's got a diamond out, but he's really only got a 3 and a 4 that can get him ahead in this pot.
It's a bet of $230,000, and Matt is going to make the call. Now a pot of 880,000 chips, and the river card is the 9 of spades. So for all intents and purposes, nobody really has a hand here, Robert.
Well, Matt's got the nut jack. The jack is only the card that's going to play.
He does
Corey
have
T,
the nut jack.
He does the nut jack, and Corey T doesn't have anything except he has to bet to try to win it, and he does.
Corey's going to bet $575,000, and look at this. He's going to show the bluff. He shows everybody the 4 tray.
Yep, I don't think I'd be showing Matt Bond too many of my hands.
Action continues. It's James Larson and Robert Williamson III. We broadcast from the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. We are down to our final 4 players. Up for grabs, a whole lot of cash, almost $132,000 up top. And really, not to sound cliche, Robert, but it's anybody's game.
Yep, I'll tell you what, after seeing Corey T play these last few hands, it's looking like it's his to lose right now.
Corey's going to raise to $170,000, fold it around to Plowman. A little bit of a roller coaster for him. Last week didn't play a whole lot of hands. This week he's been up, he's been down. This time he's got Queen Jack, and it's $90,000 to make the call.
Well, defending your big blind with respectable hands like Queen Jack, I believe in that. I'm a firm believer in defending that big blind anytime you get a chance.
Plowman's 33 years old, a software engineer originally from Bulgaria, and he is going to make this call.
And Plowman's going to make the call, 170 and a call.
So heads up to the flop, Corey T and Plowman.
Let's see the flop.
And the flop is Jack 6 tray, couple of hearts.
Plowman's going to be first.
Well, Plowman flops top pair. No help for Corey, but we'll see if Corey tries to represent this.
We saw that on the last hand. He had 4 tray of diamonds and he took the thing down. So we'll see if he can continue to be the aggressor as Plowman checks over to him.
I don't think he's going to be able to get Plowman off a top pair and a decent kicker. That's going to be awful hard for him.
Corey T is reaching for chips. He's going to bet $185,000. We'll see if Plowman decides to make a raise here.
Yes. 185.
I suspect that's his plan, Robert. What would you do in this situation?
I don't think there's any need to raise here. You can be dominated by ace-jack or king-jack. I'd probably just flat call here.
And he is going to do that. He makes the call. Turn card now is the king of spades.
Well, lucky and unlucky for Plowman. It puts an overcard to his pair. Now it's a little bit scarier, but I would still probably just check and tend to call depending on how much Corey T bets.
Plowman checks, action on Corey T. Corey T with just $80,000 in lifetime earnings. Looking to add to that tonight.
Or Corey T's making it harder and harder for now what's second pair to call.
Bet is $480,000. Action back to Plowman.
I mean, honestly, in this spot now, James, the way Corey T's played this hand, even though he just showed the 3-4 bluff, I kind of think he might have me beat. I might lay this hand down if I'm Plowman. I can see, just like you can see, Plowman's got the best hand, but you also could be facing a river bet, and a river bet's going to be even harder to call.
Plowman's probably thinking he can't be bluffing 2 times in a row, right?
Yeah, well, he could be bluffing 2 in a row, but 3's hard to believe. And if he fires the 3rd bullet, Plowman just about has to lay it down. Plowman's got to make a decision right now that's going to be both streets. If I call now, unless it comes some weird heart, like a 10 of hearts or ace of hearts, some kind of really high heart, then he gets away from it on the river. But otherwise, I think he has to call here and the river if he makes this call.
Plowman is taking his time with this decision, running everything through his head, trying to figure out where he's at in this hand.
Well, I think Plowman believes that he was beat on the flop now, and that's why he's trying to decide if there's any chance Corey T is still on a drawing hand, like 2 baby hearts. Could be 4 or 5 of hearts, and he's still not in great shape against that. It's a straight draw and a flush draw.
Pot of almost 1.3 million chips.
What Plowman doesn't know is he's actually got Corey T drawing dead.
Well, still on this decision, Robert.
Well, the bet sizing was excellent there by Corey T. He put the maximum pressure on Plowman's stack size. That's a really tough decision for Plowman.
Got to give credit to Corey T here, putting on a little bit of a clinic here in this HPT episode, Robert.
Well, Plowman can correct that if he just makes this call, but it's easy for us to say we see the whole cards. This is a really tough call. I've been in Plowman's spot several times.
And Corey T forces Plowman to fold. And when we come back after these messages, we'll see if Corey can take down this HPT title.
Let's take a look back at the chip counts. Corey Thompson starting to pull away from the pack. Steve Karp putting up a fight. Matt and Plowman going to have to make a move soon.
The action continues here from the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. Robert, we had 389 entries, a total prize pool of $575,720. And now we are down to our final 4 players. Action will start with Steve. Picks up another hand, this time ace-king.
Well, no matter how many players are in the pot, you gotta love Steve's hand here. Big slick, ace-king. Definitely gonna enter this pot with a raise.
Steve's gonna raise to $175,000, and Matt Bond quickly throws away his Jack-10. I'm surprised at that.
Yeah, I think maybe just because Steve hadn't shown any negative hands. He hadn't really shown any weak hands. He gave him some respect there.
Plowman gets out of the way. Corey T is going to defend with his 8-7.
Well, Corey T's not giving quite the same respect, it looks like.
Flop is king, 10 tray, couple of diamonds.
Well, that's a huge, monstrous flop for Steve.
Steve catches the king. Also a couple of diamonds. We go to the turn card now. And it's the 6 of diamonds. And just like that, the absolute nuts for Steve Karp.
It was such a big flop for Steve, he decided to check it back. He might get some extra chips out of Corey T by doing that.
And Corey T is reaching for chips. He's going to make a bet of $235,000. What do you want Steve to do here, Robert?
You know, I think I'd have to just flat call and hope to God that Corey T would bluff into me again on the river.
Steve Karp is 49th on the Florida all-time cash list. Adding to that here this week on the HPT. The bet to him is $235,000. What a comeback this guy's made.
Well, especially with the aggression that Corey T has shown, I believe I would definitely want him to. That's a great card. Now Corey T has a pair. Steve might get a payday here.
7 of spades comes on the river. Corey T's going to check.
Well, even though it's 3rd pair, if Steve bets the right bet sizing here, and I'd say half pot or a little less, around 350 to 400 range, he might get paid off by Corey T, because now Corey T made a pair on the river.
400.
Ooh, I like that size.
That's $400,000. Makes Corey kind of sit back in his chair, and he's going to think about this, Robert.
Well, this puts Corey T in a really tough spot. Corey T's thinking to himself, Steve checked the flop, showed weakness, then just flats on the turn, shows more weakness. Maybe he has the dry ace of diamonds, and my 7s are good.
A pot of 1.3 million chips. We'll see if Corey can get rid of this hand, and he's going to do just that. He's going to show his 7, and he's going to fold his hand. And once again, the winner is Steve Karp.
Never showing you my hand. I hope we know each other a long time. We'll get a home game or something.
Steve is very well respected in the poker community. I talked to Aaron Massey, one of our past HPT champions, says this guy's helped out a lot of up-and-coming young players. Let Aaron crash at his house. And he's always the guy they go to for advice. And this time he's got the Sammy Hagar pocket 5s. They like to call him Uncle Steve or Miami Steve. He's got a lot of nicknames.
I think you were making a reference to I Can't Drive 55.
Yeah, see, the young kids they don't remember the Sammy Hagar hit from 30 years ago. Pocket 5s raising it to 215,000. And now ace 10 for Plowman.
A very playable hand.
And a 3-bet shove, as I kind of expected here. He's going to go all in. And look at this. Ran him right into the buzzsaw of Corey T's pocket aces.
Love saying that. Plowman doesn't have any idea what just happened to him. Corey T, wow, wakes up with aces in that spot.
We'll see if Steve can get away with these pocket 5s.
I'm probably going to flat call if I'm Corey T, hoping and praying that I get Steve to call too.
And Steve is going to fold his hand. They're going to flip over the cards, and Plowman is going to see the bad news, ladies and gentlemen. He ran his ace 10 right into pocket aces.
As James, my co-host, likes to say, right into the buzzsaw.
Into the buzzsaw, indeed. And the flop is queen 4 trade. They're all spades. So the news keeps getting worse for Plowman as Corey T's got the ace of spades in his hand.
And he's dead to runner. He needs help on the turn here.
And that's not going to do it. The 4 of diamonds, so he is drawing dead. Plowman has been eliminated. He's going to go out in 4th place with a nice little payday, $37,513. And we'll be back to see if anyone can stop Corey from grabbing the championship after these brief words.
And increasing his chip lead even more so now, Corey Thompson on top. But Matt Bond and Steve Karp still have something to say about that, James.
We can only have one HPT champion tonight. Will it be Corey, Matt, or Steve? Whoever it's going to be, they'll go home with a whole lot of cash, $131,720. And once again, I want to talk about Steve Karp. What a comeback. This guy, Robert, was down to 7 big blinds at one point.
Tell you what, he has been very patient today.
Blinds are now 60,000, 120,000 with a 15K ante. Action is on Steve with his queen 10 of clubs.
You know what I love about three-handed poker? The button gets to act first pre-flop.
And now Steve is going to go all in with his queen 10.
Well, I think he's only got about 1.6 million. Oh, but he runs into a hand. Corey T's got him dominated with ace-queen.
Corey T with the ace-queen.
I can't really fault Steve here, though. He only had about 12, 13 big blinds. I'd probably shove right there on the button as well.
Bad news for Steve as he runs him right into the ace-queen of Matt Bonds. And now we go to the flop. It's ace-king-queen.
Well, a very bad flop, but one saving grace, a jack, could still save Steve's day.
Turn card is the 8 of hearts.
Well, now a jack and only a jack can save Steve from sure destruction.
And look at that.
Oh, my gosh. I guess it's ask and it shall be given.
The jack of clubs hits the river, and once again, Steve is going to double up. Unbelievable, Robert.
What great poker today.
James Larson, Robert Williamson III. We broadcast from the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. Man, we're having fun here on the HPT. Our champion will go home with almost $132,000. Right now, all the players are guaranteed just over $54K.
Well, Matt looks down at the computer hand, Queen 7 suited. Decides to bring it in for a raise.
Now over to Steve, $160,000 for him to make the call. This guy, he's been all in, what, 3, 4, 5 times now? He wins every one of them, Robert.
He seems to be a cat with at least 4 or 5 lives that we've seen.
He was going to make the call. Jack 8 going up against Queen 7. Steve is catching lightning in a bottle here at this final table. The flop is 2 10s and a jack.
Well, Steve catches another piece of the flop. Flops 2 pair. Matt didn't like that flop at all, but he might try to represent it. Decides to check instead. Steve checks behind him, though.
Turn card now is the Tray of Hearts.
You know what I always say, James? All trappers don't wear fur. I think Steve knows he's got the best hand and checks to him once again.
Action on Matt after Steve checks. Now Matt reaching for chips. Both these players with a whole lot of experience, Robert. They've been on the big stage so many times. It's a bet of $235,000.
I like this trapping check. Probably just a call, though. You can't take a chance that you accidentally ran into it, a real hand like a 10.
900,000 chips in the middle. And Steve is going to make the call.
Only a queen can spring Matt from the trap that Steve set for him.
The river card is the 8 of diamonds. So Steve with the best hand here. Jacks and 10s. He's going to check over to Matt one more time.
I love that check. That might induce a bluff from Matt. Otherwise, he's probably not going to get a payday anyway. A great check on the river here by Steve.
Be interesting to see what Matt does, and he's going to check back. They're going to flip over their cards. Matt's going to see the bad news. Jacks and 10s for Steve and a pot of over $1.1 million.
Steve giving Jeremy Smith, our tournament director, a little bit of a ribbing there. Says I had 3 pair, not just 2 pair.
And the funny thing was he did it with a straight face. And if you know Jeremy, he's all business at the final table, but I want to thank him for everything he does, as well as the rest of the crew. We just have a fantastic group here on the HPT. Action continues now. Matt Bond looks down at Ace Trey. He's going to go all in.
And any ace when you're down 3-handed is a big hand, but Corey wakes up behind him with the dominating ace, Ace-Jack.
Action now on Steve. Steve's going to get out of the way. And now Corey T and Matt are going to flip over their cards. And you know what Steve Karp's thinking? I was down to 7 big blinds. I could be heads up for the title here after this hand.
And moving up to second place prize money minimally.
Ace Trey going up against Ace-Jack. What a crazy final table we have here in Daytona Beach. The flop is King 8 Deuce, couple of diamonds.
Well, backdoor diamonds. Matt needs running diamonds or a 3.
The gallery, they're on their feet here in Daytona Beach. Turn card now another diamond. This time the 5 of diamonds.
Now a 3, a 4, or a diamond gets Matt out of the trap.
Matt has to improve or he will be eliminated in 3rd place. We go to the river card.
4 is going to leave us in 3rd place today. Let's see the river card.
And the river is the 8 of spades. So that'll do it for Matt as he leaves us in 3rd place, and he'll go home with over $54,000 in cash. And Matt will say his goodbyes and go off into the beautiful Daytona Beach sunset.
Phil's a good dude. I know Phil's a good poker.
All right, we're going to pause the clock here.
You played amazing
For heads
poker,
up
man.
action.
So lucky. Good shit.
Microphone over to Tatiana.
Way to put it.
We will crown a new HPT champion when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
And then there were 2. Welcome back to the HPT. I'm James Larson, joined by Robert Williamson III. Robbie, it's time for Heads Up Poker. It's Corey and Steve.
Corey's got a 2-1 chip lead, but I'll tell you what, Steve gets 1 double, and he's our chip leader.
A whole lot of cash on the line. Let's get back to the final table.
And we're down to Heads Up Poker. Corey Thompson on top of the chip leader board, but Steve Karp only 1 double up away from being our new chip leader.
Heads Up Poker right here from Daytona Beach, Florida. There's the bracelet. They'll go home with that. The champion will. And the cash, almost $132,000. Let's play Heads Up, Robbie.
Well, Heads Up Poker is a totally different game. Hand ranges vary in strength. Queen 6 on the button. More playable heads up than definitely, even if there was only 3 opponents left. Corey decides to open with the raise.
Corey's going to raise to $240,000. Steve now wearing the shades. He's got ace-8. And now a re-raise by Steve. He's going to go up to $600,000.
Well, this is the only problem of playing Queen 6 for a raise to start with, James. Sometimes you have to buckle up and call a re-raise, and Corey decides to do just that.
Corey is going to make the call, so it's ace-8 going up against Queen 6. And we go to the flop, and it's Queen, Jack, 7, couple of hearts.
That's a big flop for Corey's hand, but that's a coordinated board. After Steve checks to me here, I have to bet this if I'm Corey. Got to protect my top pair of queens, especially with 2 hearts on the board and 2 big cards to a straight.
Steve's going to check, and Corey T's going to check here,
Don't
Robert.
like that check, James. I don't like that check.
Turn card now is the ace of
I
spades.
really don't like the check now because now he gave a free card and Steve got there. Steve's got top pair.
Miami Steve now goes in the lead.
But yet he checks again.
Checks to Corey. Both players kind of feeling themselves out here, the first hand of Heads Up.
Well, now Corey's betting on a street I don't think he should be betting on because of the coordinated board. Now, with an ace of spades out there too, there's 2 flush draws, there's a straight already made, and Corey's got second pair with no kicker. I I probably would have checked and took a free card right there.
The bet is $395,000, and Steve's going to make the call. We go to the river. It's the 9 of diamonds.
Well, that is a complete blank. Think we'll see a check down here.
Steve checks, Corey T checks, and a pot of almost 2.2 million chips is going to the direction of Steve Karp. He wins that hand.
And Corey's got to be talking to himself there. He made 2 bad decisions. He didn't bet the flop, and then he did bet the turn when he was behind.
It's James Larson and Robert Williamson III broadcasting from the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. If you want to join us here on the HPT, check out the webpage. All the information is at hptpoker.com.
And you could come out and play with James and I.
Absolutely. One of these days you're going to make a final table, aren't you, Robert? You keep
I bet
threatening.
it's going to come sooner than you think.
Steve's going to make the call with his 9-7. And now the option to Corey T. He's got King Jack of diamonds. I suspect a raise here, Robbie.
Yes, Corey T. with a King Jack of diamonds. Definitely I would raise.
Talk about the hand selection when you're heads-up poker, Robert, for a title like this.
Well, you can play a few more hands, definitely. But what you have to be careful is of trap hands. And queen jacks, queen tens, queen nines, weak queens, weak jacks, those will get you in trouble. King jack, that's a good raising hand. Look at this. Steve decides to re-raise. Wow, with 7-9 offsuit.
Now, you want Corey T to re-raise him back now, Robert? What do you think?
I think Corey T knows that Steve is capable of raising light, and that's why he makes this call.
He just makes the call. We go to the flop. 2 queens and a 4.
Well, that's a confusion flop for that King Jack because now he doesn't know where he's at with Steve. This is Steve's pot to take down. If Steve just will show some aggression, he decides to check. Wow, I don't understand why you 3-bet pre-flop and then don't bet the flop there.
Turn card now is the Queen of Diamonds. And action is on Corey, and Corey's going to check over to Steve. Now Steve is reaching for chips.
Yeah, but the problem for Steve is that his story's not believable. I don't think that I'm believing him here. I might call down with just king high. I mean, I think the best hand Steve could have here in his hand range after checking that flop would be ace high. And I can beat any other thing but ace high.
The bet is 500,000 chips. Action over to Corey T. And Corey T's thinking, boy, another weird hand. He's got a lot to think about before he decides to, make this call or fold his hand.
Corey makes a really good call there. That's kind of a hero call. I like it.
River card is the 5 of hearts.
No help to either player, so Corey T has the best hand. We'll see if Steve has the conviction to make a big bet here. That's the only way he's going to win this. Instead, he decides to surrender, and he's not going to like that he sees Corey wins the pot with king jack high.
Well, we asked Corey about his heads-up experience, and here's what he told us.
It's hard to play heads up. I think it's a big advantage online because there's constant heads up in the lobby, and I think that's the only way to get better heads up is to either A, study, or B, play a lot.
Well, do you agree with that, Sir Robert?
You know what they say, James? You can't fake experience. You just got to get better, play lower stakes, and then move up in limits when you get a chance. And looky here, Corey T wakes up with 2 10s.
Corey T with the pocket 10s. We'll see how much he decides to raise this to. He's reaching for chips.
Well, Corey T has raised with such a variety of hands, there's no way Steve could actually think he has a real hand. Looky here.
Oh
my
boy,
gosh, I
what
smell
a
a cooler. I feel a
Jeez.
cooler coming along.
Pocket 9s now for Steve. The raise was the 240,000. Action over to Steve. We'll see if he re-raises. And it's a re-raise to 650,000. Robert, this could be it, my friend.
I think we might see a 4-bet, and we do. Corey T 4-bets it all in. Steve
is going to make the call, and he's like, what do I do? I'm heads up. I got pocket 9s. I run them into pocket 10s. Both players shake hands.
Still can.
Corey needs to fade a 9 to become our new Daytona Beach Kennel Club HPT champion.
2 7s and a jack come on the flop. So far, so good for Corey T.
Still a 9 and a couple runner outs available, but only a 9 now. Only a 9 can save Steve's day, or Corey T's going to be our new champion.
The Queen of Hearts there on the turn. 1 card to go, and it's the 4 of spades. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got a brand new HPT champion. Corey T's going home with the bracelet, the cash, and the bragging rights.
And I'll tell you what, Corey Thompson played great poker today. Congratulations. And I'll tell you what, not a bad payday at all here for Steve. He sat around on his chip stack all day long, moved all the way into second place.
Well, Robert, as you predicted earlier, Corey is our new HPT champion. Let's hear what he has to say. Tatiana is down on the floor. We'll send it over to you guys.
How are you feeling?
I feel great. It's finally great to win one of these things. It's been a while.
You have a bracelet, you have a title, and you have almost $132,000.
It could be worse, for sure.
What's the most important thing out of those three?
It's always the money.
Thanks so much, Tatiana. And as always down here in Florida, Robbie, we saw some great poker.
And we built a big prize pool, James, over $500,000, and the prize pools just keep getting bigger and bigger here on the HPT.
I want to thank all of our players and everybody here at this fantastic property, the Daytona Beach Kennel Club and Poker Room. Now, if you think you have what it takes to play right here on the national level, why not give it a shot? Check out our webpage at hptpoker.com to find a tour stop near you. For Robert Williamson III, I'm James Larson, and we'll see you next time on the HPT.